Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at the controls and movement basics of Puck. Straight off the bat, if you do want to just know the controls, you can go into settings, or you can see all the controls on this whiteboard here. But if you want to know more about what each does and how to use them correctly, I'll be showing that in the video, so let's get right into it. Right then guys, so we've hopped into practice, and the first controls I'm going to be showing you are WASD. These are your basic movement keys, same as any other game: A left, D right, W forward, S backwards. Now that we've got that out of the way, we can talk about some of the more specific ones. Now, I know this isn't the most specific, but shift allows you to change your, accelerate quicker and get your top speed up from 27 kilometers an hour to between 31 and 32. I want to say 31.5 kilometers an hour, which makes it much easier to catch up to the ball, catch up to opponents, and lots of other things. The next control I will be showing you is left control or control, either one really. I know it's left control, but it allows you to crouch. You should know that when crouched or sliding, you cannot accelerate anymore. You cannot move. You can only turn left or right, which may make you think why you might want to do that, but as you can see, it does allow the maximum extension of your stick to be just that bit more, which can be handy in situations where you need a slight bit more reach just to hit the puck. But yeah, just keep that in mind. You cannot move, you can only turn when crouched or sliding. The next button is Alt. It allows you to come to a stop fairly quickly, which is great for if your teammate were to send you in a pass. We use that puck there as an example. It's coming here, it's slowing down, you stop to get a better angle, and yeah. But that's what that's used for. Next is a bit more of a, I don't want to say complicated control, but it is incredibly useful and just ever so slightly more complicated than the other ones, as it's used more in conjunction. So if you use spacebar, which is the jump key, and then click or hold D or A, you'll be able to turn left and right whilst in the air a lot quicker. As you can see, quite slow. If I'm jumping, I can turn quicker, but you can take that even further, and if while jumping, you double click A or double click D, you can loop around very quickly, which can be great going on the defense. Great for going from the defense straight back onto offense at a moment's notice, or vice versa. Very handy for that, but can be a little bit difficult to fine-tune exactly where you want to turn. The next controls are going to be with the mouse. Now, obviously, use your mouse to control the stick. It's brilliant, really. Lets you have a lot of control about exactly what you want to do with it. And it has a much higher skill gap than some other games due to the complexity of being able to move it. But obviously, there's a little bit more to the mouse. Now, let's say you wanted to track the puck from wherever you are. If I turn my back to the puck and hold left click, it will track the puck. Send it over there, it'll still track it. And note, even while tracking, you can still move your stick. On the contrary, if you are using the right click, it gives you the ability to look around wherever you want freely, but you cannot move the stick. But it is much easier if you are going on a little dribble, you spot a teammate out on the left, and then you can just send him in a little pass. Of course, the pass goes in, but that's what that is brilliant for. Next, you have got the scroll wheel on your mouse. Now, scrolling up will angle it to the left, and scrolling down will angle it to the right. Each kind of angle has its use case. When I've got it angled to the right in this scenario, it allows me to just get under that puck a bit more, and I can really send it flying. Realistically, you're not going to want to send it that high. So in a real life use case, you'd get up to the goal, angle it. Oh my days. And you just be able to chip it over the goalkeeper just that little bit more, because obviously the goals are not going to be open in a real game. So what you'd do is you'd bring up the puck, and then you'd flick. Wow. But you get the idea. You'd flick it over the goalkeeper. And angling down can make it a lot easier to just control the puck on a dribble. You can just give it a lot lighter touches, and when you are like turning left and right, it just keeps it hooked in a little bit better. And when you learn how to move more, you can switch it between each side, switch the angle mid-path, and it makes it a lot nicer. Personally, though, I do find it difficult to shoot when it's angled down. So, more realistically, you'd bring it in, then you'd change the angle, and then you'd shoot. Because, I mean, you can't really get a lot of speed or accuracy when it's hooked in like this. I mean, I find it useful for passing to like a vague area. If you want to make sure that that puck does not leave the floor. Because even if I throw this, it will not leave the floor. Not a great example, but it can be great for certain situations. But I'd stick to using it for controlled dribbles. Now, these next controls are exclusive to the goalkeeper position. As you might have noticed, now that I'm in goal, I get these two leg pads. It means you're not a floating blob, and you can actually do more to protect the goal. So, as we spoke earlier, if you use left control to crouch, you can see the leg pads are now flat on the floor in a V shape. If you then use Q and E, Q to move the left, E to move the right, you can extend these leg pads, either one or the other, or both. It can be great for protecting angled shots, like say I'm here, I can just extend that leg. Anyways, yeah, I can extend that leg and focus more on just defending out here. That's the goalkeeper is an interesting position as well, because you don't quite get, you don't nearly get the same top speed as you can see right there. I am topping out at 18 kilometers an hour in the bottom left. Even with sprint, I reach 22. Now compare that to the 27 base and the 31 sprint kilometers an hour that you get on a normal skater. You do not want to be getting caught out, ideally. Like I wouldn't even say this is safe. You'd want, ideally, the puck to be very, very close to you. And you don't want to be bringing up on your own. You want to be finding someone on the wing, and you just want to be able to pass it up to them to generate the attack, as you leaving your goal can be very dangerous, and it can be difficult to get back into position. What can be handy to know as well is P allows you to change your position. Just remember, P for position. You can change your position mid-game to suit what your team might need if you've not got a full lobby. But now that we've got the controls out of the way, we can move on to some movement mechanics. So, you know, as before, if you hit into the goal while jumping, you know, you will flop on the floor. You won't be able to do anything, and it takes a while to get back up. So, I wouldn't really call it a movement mechanic, but don't do it. I don't really see any possible scenario that is helping you. But the key in this game is momentum conservation. You always want to be able to be at your top speed, apart from some scenarios which it doesn't call for it, obviously, but in most scenarios, when you're not on the puck, you're not lining up for a shot, you want to be moving at full speed. You want to constantly be able to switch from offense to defense. But obviously, if you're going on offense like this, and then you're going back on defense, you're slowly turning around, you're coming to a stop, and then you're starting again. Obviously, with sprint, you'll be a little bit quicker. But in an ideal world, what you want to be doing is you're on the offense, you make a pass, it gets caught out, You're going to get back on defense. You want to take an arch. Nice little circle. See, my speed isn't dropping below 27 kilometers an hour. If you just turn rather than try, like, angle, you know? If you're turning with your speed, you will keep your speed. Just remember that. Even if I do the jump and the double tap, I lose a lot of speed. So if you have got the time, you do just want to be turning in a nice swift motion, and then you got your speed to make a tackle or a connection with the pass or whatever you want. It makes life a lot easier when you get used to not constantly stopping and turning. Obviously, if you miss the puck, you will need to stop and then use your sprint to get back up to full speed and continue. Yep, continue the attack. But that is why you want to be using the angular method, as it keeps your sprint free for those awkward moments. Oh my gosh. But yeah. Another thing to note is when going into the walls, you see my speed immediately drops to about 9 kilometers an hour. Same thing happens when you hit players. Your speed, even if not directly into them, even touching them on the sides, it will kill your momentum. This doesn't have to be a bad thing, though. The same thing can happen with other players. Well, you can cause it to happen to other players, is what I mean. Let's say you got this puck riding up along that wall. You're quite slow for whatever reason. They're coming up behind you. You're picking up your speed. You cut the line off, bang them into the wall, and now you've got a good chance on goal. Much easier. You've taken them out the play entirely. And now you've just got the keeper to beat, which is easier said than done, since I cannot score to save my life. But yeah, bumping into things, bad. You will lose all your speed. And similarly to the goal, I have had it happen a few times. It's rare, but if you run into a player and jump at them fast enough, you will topple. It's not happened many times. I could probably count on 3 fingers how many times it's actually happened to me. I don't know if it's intentional or if it is just difficult to get it to trigger. But it can happen, but I wouldn't really base your game around knocking people over too much. But yeah. Another thing to mention, I know I keep saying that, but the stick is a physical object that's connected to you. So obviously, it can be used to hit the puck, but also when you're near the wall, hitting it will make you move and turn. Can be annoying if a puck is pressed up against the wall. You're trying to get a shot off, but you just push yourself away. But you can also use it to quickly change directions. Obviously, the angle is much better, but you can also just push off, glide, reach top speed, and get a shot off. See if that works again. Nope. Oh. We'll take it. And then just get that shot off. That one went in. But yeah, remember, pushing off it's a bad thing. You don't want it to be happening much. You can kind of use the wall to, like, jump onto it, but more often than not, you do just bounce off the wall, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. But yeah, that seems to be most of the controls. Hope you found that handy. If you check out my other videos, I'm explaining how to shoot, dribble, pass, defend, and goalkeep. So keep an eye out for that. Check them out. Let me know if you want to see more. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.